New reaction. Former President Obama speaking out for the first time about that racist video posted then deleted from President Trump's Truth Social account which depicted the Obamas as apes. Obama agreed with those who called the video a distraction, but says it also points to a deeper problem in our politics. There's this sort of clown show that's happening in social media and on television. And what is true is that there doesn't seem to be any shame about this among people who used to feel like you had to have some sort of decorum and a sense of propriety and respect for the office. With me now, Don Calloway, former Missouri State Representative and CEO of Pine Street Strategies, along with Democratic strategist Jenna Arnold and Republican strategist Susan Del Persia. Welcome, guys. Good to see you again this weekend. So Don, is that what it really boils down to, a lack of decency and respect? And how do we as a country get that back? It's always great to hear from former President Obama because he has this knack for making us raise our eyes to some higher principles. And that's what he does right here. He's exactly right. Of course, it's easy to point out the disturbing and virulent racism and sexism in most of the things that come not only from this president, but from the MAGA ideology. But the reality is that this time in our politics has degraded the value of public service, such that we no longer are living in a world where we see the presidency as having the prestige and the valor and the nobility that it once did. And that's unfortunate because that will permeate our entire politics. I think that's what former President Obama is talking about. When you lose shame and when you allow yourself and leaders to behave in these abhorrent fashions, what it ultimately does is degrade the entire nobility of public service and it becomes this clown show. So, Jenna, President Obama also had some advice for his fellow Democrats, which includes both unity and some healthy debate. They're doing such crazy stuff that it shouldn't be hard for our side to coalesce around the areas where we agree on and focus on that. And I think that is going to happen if we are effective in winning the midterms. If we then have a robust primary for who's going to be the next Democratic president, we shouldn't be afraid of having a robust debate. So how do Democrats find this balance of less internal fighting while having robust debates to make it overall stronger? A quick response: I actually think the Democrats have been more aligned now than ever around our values. And I love the choice of words referencing Obama's call to a shared nobility. I have to say it is shocking to me that in that same conversation where Obama confirmed there are aliens, his words, not mine, you would think a statement like that from a former president would be one of the most unifying headlines in human history, and that our divisions could dissolve. And it doesn't seem like there is anything we can do to be as noble to our humanity as we could and should be in the shadow of a statement like that. This isn't a reflection of democratic values, it's a reflection of how we see ourselves as a collective humanity. And I think there's such an opportunity here to center that idea of noble togetherness. Very good point. But I'm going to move to you, Susan. Because of the decade-long stronghold that President Trump has on Republicans, are they completely missing out on robust internal debates? Or is it beginning now as they see a future beyond Trump? Well, there may be debates within Republican circles, but they're kept very close because there is no room to debate with Donald Trump or his administration. Are they starting to break? I don't think they're going to break with Donald Trump, but they're starting to realize there is a time after him. We even saw that with Marco Rubio's speech overseas yesterday. He was more inclusive with Europe than Vice President Vance was before. So there is some room, but right now I think the reason some Republicans are willing to speak up is because the president's poll numbers are so bad and they have to take chances to separate from him if they're from swing districts. So Don, there is a robust primary, as Obama put it, just days away. Early voting begins Tuesday in the Texas primaries, including that closely watched Democratic Senate primary. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and State Representative James Tallarico are battling it out. One report argues black voters could prove decisive, making up a fifth of likely Democratic primary voters in Texas. Do you agree with that? And where do you think the contest stands right now? Full disclosure, Jasmine Crockett is a friend of mine. We grew up together in St. Louis. Black voters will absolutely be determinative in a Texas primary. If Crockett can harness them, I think she has a strong path, especially if she drives turnout from suburban Houston, Dallas, and the growing black population in San Antonio. She's got to maintain that engagement until November. It's a long runway, but if she can mobilize educated black voters and keep that energy, she could be the strongest candidate to beat a Republican if Texas goes blue in the Senate. This administration is very focused on what they call election security. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem suggested her department has a major role in that during a news conference promoting a national voter ID law. She said, "Many people believe it may be one of the most important things we need to ensure we trust, that on election day we have the right people voting and electing the right leaders.